Could you just tell us like the network state in one sentence? Because I think it's kind of a good jumping point to get into the book itself.
So a highly aligned online community with the capacity for collective action that crowdfunds territory around the world and eventually gains diplomatic recognition from pre-existing states. So that combines kind of like four concepts, right? So highly aligned online community that is not, it's useful sometimes to define what something is by what it is not, right? Facebook is not a highly aligned online community. It is for 3-something billion people that have nothing in common other than clicking the button in the blue app. So Facebook is not a network state, right? Neither is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is there's people who hold, BTC, but that's the only thing they have. They're not like highly aligned. They just have hundreds of millions of people. They in fact, the whole point of Bitcoin is quote decentralized and so on and so forth, right? And then a company is not really the same as a community. One of the institutions which is allowed to have a membrane boundary around and allowed to be selective. And because it is allowed to be selective, it is actually where people have sort of rebuilt to some degree community, over the last, 10, 20 years. Okay. But a company is not the same as a community. By the way, as distinct from, let's say, an apartment complex, which just has 1,000 people that don't know each other in there and can't select on the basis of communities. And yet as distinct from, let's say, Harvard or any college, which is an apartment complex that can select on the basis of alignment and identity, right? So highly aligned online community, number one, with a capacity for collective action, right? So now you might have a bunch of people who like believe in the same things. You've selected them on the moral basis of, whether it's carbs bad or, being well-dressed good or FDA bad. You have some premise like that. And the reason I say it in this sort of guttural, visceral way as X bad, Y good, is to sort of mirror how it works within our heads. You could say it in the sense of the Food and Drug Administration is, deleterious, right? But like X bad, Y good is sort of how like it's at that basal level, right? And you can go ahead. Yeah, it's polarizing in an important way, which is you're saying society has a deficiency that you are correcting with your society in the same way that if a startup company is correcting that moral, if a startup company is correcting a market deficiency with a technological innovation, a startup society is correcting a moral deficiency with a societal innovation. Okay. And so now that thing about capacity for collective action, you have this community, it has to actually be able to do things together. Now, you've heard the term state capacity.
Yep.
Yeah. So the thing is, everybody just assumes the US government can do something. It basically can't. Anytime it wants to do X, then the other team doesn't want it to do Y for good reason. And then even when both teams get it together, it does bad things because it can only do popular things and not the unpopular things that are important things,